Hello? Ah! Now that right there is why I don't sleep anymore. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome back to The Outer Limits. I'm Andre, and today we're doing something a little different. For a while now, you have all been asking me to do some game reviews alongside my playthroughs. Well, I heard you. I listened, and here we are. Starting now, once a week, I'm going to pick one game from my recent playthroughs, sit down, and give my honest, unfiltered take on it. No fluff, no sponsorships telling me what to say, just me, the game, and the truth. Now, I primarily play indie horror games. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you already know that. Indie horror doesn't get nearly enough love in the review space. Most of the attention goes to the big budget titles, AAA giants. But some of the most creative, most terrifying, most emotionally affecting experiences in gaming come out of small studios with big ideas. So why not shine a light on them and give them some love? Eventually, I may run a poll and let you choose which game gets reviewed each week. So drop a comment and let me know if that sounds like something you'd be into. But for now, be gentle with me. This is my first review after all. So without further delay, let's get active. This week's game is The Empty Eyes. I finished it recently and I wanted to talk about it while it was still sitting heavy on me, because this one doesn't let go easy. It's a psychological horror investigation game developed by a small indie studio called 99 Grados Games. You play as a private detective hired to look into the disappearance of a high-profile lawyer. Sounds like a pretty routine missing persons case, right? Yeah, this case is anything but routine. I talked about 3.5 hours on my playthrough. It's not a long game, but it uses every single one of those minutes to keep you engaged. I want to break down what the game gets right, what it gets wrong, and ultimately who I think needs to play it. Let's start with the story and the premise, because that's the beating heart of this game. So here's the setup. You're a private detective. You get a call. High-profile lawyer gone missing. Family wants answers. You show up to the house expecting paperwork, maybe a few interview subjects, the usual routine. Except the moment you walk through the front door, something is wrong. You can feel it before anything even happens. The house is too quiet. The rooms feel too still. There's a weight to the atmosphere that the game establishes immediately and never lets up. As you begin your investigation, you start noticing things don't add up. Personal effects arranged in odd patterns, rooms that seem designed to disorient, and a silence in the game. I want to talk about this silence specifically, that is genuinely masterfully oppressive. It's not quiet because nothing is happening. It's quiet because something is waiting. That distinction matters enormously in horror, and The Empty Eyes understands it completely. The deeper you dig, the darker it gets. You start uncovering that this lawyer wasn't just missing, he was hiding something. A series of unexplained disappearances connected to the property, hidden symbols etched into places you almost don't notice, and a presence in that house that has absolutely no business existing in the natural world. The story builds slowly and deliberately, and it earns every moment of that build. There's a twist towards the end, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it recontextualizes everything you thought you understood about the investigation. Everything. I've played through enough horror games to think I'm fairly hard to surprise at this point. This game surprised me. This is really good writing. Now let's talk about what this game absolutely nails, because there's a lot. First, the environment. Every single room in this house is doing work. The level design in The Empty Eyes isn't just a backdrop, it's storytelling. Each space tells you something about the lawyer, about the history of the house, about what happened there. The atmosphere builds on itself room by room, layer by layer. And by the midpoint of the game, you are generally reluctant to open the next door. Not because you're told to be scared, but because the game has earned that reaction through deliberate, intelligent design. That tension is hard to manufacture, and The Empty Eyes does it consistently throughout. Second, the jump scares. Now I know jump scares get a bad reputation in horror circles. And honestly, a lot of this reputation is deserved. Cheap jump scares are lazy design. But there is a difference, a big difference, between a cheap startle and a jump scare that has been properly earned. The Empty Eyes earns its jump scares. Every single one. They're placed at moments where tension has been building long enough that you almost expect something to happen. Your guard is up, you're braced, and it still gets you. That's a craft. That's a developer who understands the psychology of fear and knows exactly how to weaponize it. Third, the pacing of the investigation itself. The way information is revealed in this game feels completely natural. You're not being handheld throughout the story. There are no giant arrows pointing you to the next plot beat, but you're also never truly lost. The game respects your intelligence as a player, trusts you to piece things together, and rewards you when you do. That balance, guiding without leading, challenging without frustrating, is something a lot of horror games fail to achieve. The Empty Eyes gets it right. So now that we've gone over the good, let's talk about what doesn't work. I have one real complaint, and it's a legitimate one in my opinion. Item visibility. There are moments in the Empty Eyes where you need to find specific objects to progress, and those objects blend into the environment so well that they are genuinely difficult to spot. Now, artistically, I understand the choice. The visual aesthetic is dark, muted, deliberately unsettling. It looks incredible, but from a pure gameplay standpoint, there were a couple of moments where I was stuck, not because the puzzle was hard or the logic was unclear, but because I literally could not see what I was supposed to be finding. And I'll be honest, that's frustrating. That's the kind of friction that breaks immersion at the exact moments when you want the player to be the most absorbed in the experience. It's a minor issue in the grand scheme of things, and it doesn't undo what is otherwise a very well-constructed game. But it's worth knowing about going in, especially if you're someone who gets easily frustrated by that kind of visual noise. So here's where I land on the Empty Eyes. If you're a horror game fan, specifically a fan of psychological horror, the kind that gets under your skin and lives there, this game is for you. If you love a slow burn investigation narrative with a story that actually goes somewhere meaningful, this game is for you. If you want jump scares that feel earned rather than cheap, then this game is absolutely for you. 3.5 hours, that's all it asks, and it uses every one of them with intention. Our recommendation, play it in one sitting, lights off, headphones on. That is the way this game was designed to be experienced, and anything less is doing it a disservice. I'm giving the Empty Eyes a strong A- from the Outer Limits. It's not a perfect game. Item visibility issues hold it back from a full A, but it is exactly the kind of game that reminds you why psychological horror is such a powerful genre when it's done right. Small studio, big vision, real scares. If you've already watched my full playthrough, you already know how this one ends. If you haven't, the link is in the description. Trust me, or watch it. It only gets darker from here. This is Andre from The Outer Limits. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, but most importantly, share. As always, much love to each and every one of you. And until next time, I'm out.